Okay, I cannot believe that we're already halfway through the month of November. And that means that we are on the 15th day of the November Self Reflecting Card Challenge. So, the question of today is, how can I better trust my intuition? And then that's a really great question. So, there are often times where we second guess ourselves. We doubt some of the knowledge that we just seem to have. And so, how can we better trust that? So, the deck of cards that came to me today was the Nature Spirit. This deck of cards is created by Denise Lin, who is familiar, if you're into feng shui and shamanism and paths such as that, then you may have come across some of her books. Excuse me. So the first card that we got today, and this card flew out at least 3 times. Like, I kept, here we go, perfect example. I was shuffling the deck, this card just like kept sliding out, and I'm like, ugh. Okay, well, let me put it back. I mean, I just honestly just felt like, okay, what am I doing? Well, by about the 3rd time, it was like, okay, fine. I'm going to trust the message. We're going to go with it. And that's a great example of how sometimes we just doubt the first thing that comes to us. And that's probably the one thing we should trust the most. So Freedom Horse is representing the spirit of the horse, how they just break free and run and run and run. And I don't know if you knew this or not, but do you know horses don't lay down unless they're like super sick or something? I found that out not too long ago. But makes sense. So I've never seen a horse laying down ever. And I asked someone recently when I was horseback riding, like, so like, how does that work? Where do they lay down? I've never seen a horse lay down. And he was like, they don't. So think about that for a second. So this card's really telling us we have to let our spirits fly. We have to stop holding back. We have to stop second guessing sometimes. And we really need to feel comfortable just going with it and sharing what comes up for us and dancing and laughing and play. Like, we really need to embrace the fun in life. And once we kind of pull ourselves out of the rut, we're able to create our own sense of being. And it may not be that we fit into a certain mold anymore. So the more we break through and allow ourselves to be free and go the extra distance, we're really able to step into who we are and be able to trust ourselves more. And we're not here to be ordinary. So remember that. None of us are here to be ordinary. This is something that has been conditioned to us through society, that we need to fit in these certain molds, that our kids are supposed to sit down and be still and be quiet in the classroom, and that we are supposed to show up and live our lives for jobs and not for ourselves. And so it's really understanding what it is you want from life, not what's expected of you necessarily, and then start setting boundaries for yourself. And boundaries has been coming up for me a lot here lately, so I'm probably going to have a blog on boundaries here pretty soon, because I think that is one of the biggest pieces of taking care of ourselves and doing some self-reflections. So with the Freedom Horse card, just start thinking in different terms of, oh, I could do this, but I talked myself out of it. It's instead of, well, let me change that. Sorry. Instead of saying I should, how about I could, right? Like, I can do this. I can go do this, and it's letting yourself know that, yes, you can go do that, but are you going to go do it? And if not, why are you not going to go do that, right? So it's uncovering some of this internal turmoil sometimes, but it's giving yourself the decision making to be able to do what it is that lights you up or doesn't light you up, but you get to make that choice and you get to run with it. You get to be free and set those choices. And if you decide to do like a journey on this card or either one of these cards, but maybe throw some music on, maybe do some dancing and really just get into the vibes. Don't restrict yourself, but just be free and see what comes to you. Set the intention of your journey of freedom and see what comes back. I think that that would be a lot of fun if you can set time to do that and give yourself quite a bit of insight and allow some pretty powerful messages to come through your intuition. The second card is the smudging ceremony. And when I pulled this card out, it was, yeah, okay, duh. For me anyway. And when you think of smudging, you're thinking, typically, if you're familiar with it, you're thinking of purifying, detoxing, cleansing out areas and energies and vibrations. And so this is reminding us that as we're getting ready to like set ourselves free and embrace what it is we want from life and allowing ourselves the space to receive our intuition and listen to it, we need to also make sure we're letting go of old conditioning. We need to purify and detox from some of that old, heavy conditioning that we have. And you can also, I would say, do a real smudging. So if you're familiar with sage, then I would suggest that you do a little bit of saging and let go of things that are holding you back. So this could be old thought patterns, this could be old energies, could be literal old things in your house, things that are weighing you down, things that are, clutter. I'm horrible with clutter. I can't even go there right now. That could be its own video. But just try to let go of some of this. Try to let go of some of the poor eating habits that you have even. Allow your body to find its nourishment on more earth-based foods. So the closer to earth, the better. More natural foods even. Try to rid yourself of some of the processed junk that we just tend to suck ourselves into because it tastes so awesome and it's easy. So with smudging it's a native tradition that involves, I've mentioned sage, Palo Santo, but it involves the burning of many different types of herbs. So, different cultures will burn different things. But when you take the time and set the space to purify yourself and your environment, you start to feel lighter, you start to feel brighter, you start to feel more clear, like you can be a channel for intuition and messages. So try something small. If you're not super familiar with smudging, maybe try just one room, one space, and light some sage. When it comes to cleansing, I'll just tell you what I do a little bit. To me, sage clears energy. And I think I deeply feel that sage clears all energies. It completely neutralizes a space. So that can mean good energies. It can mean not so great energies. But what I do is I tend to walk through and sage to completely neutralize an area. And then I'll come back through with Palo Santo. And to me, Palo Santo is almost like a magnet for higher energies, higher vibrations, the type of energies and vibrations that you typically want in a space. And so I usually will completely clear space and then kind of come back through and set my intentions and invite the energies back in that I'm really searching for and seeking. And I like to smudge myself, so I'll sit down and I'll light some sage or Palo Santo, and I will cup my hands and kind of pull it over my head, and I will throw it at kind of each of my chakra points, really, to really centralize and neutralize what's happening, so that I can work with a cleaner slate and invite in the energies that I want to work with. So that is the message, really, for how do we better trust our intuitions, and it's setting the space for it. It's giving ourselves permission to run with it, and it's also taking the time to clear the energies of where we're at. So I hope that this resonates. I hope that this makes sense. This might actually be the longest video I've done. So I hope that through this information, you have found some clarity and will be able to tune into your own intuition a little bit better without second guessing yourself. And let me know what comes up if you do your own reading to complement this one. I'd love to know what comes up and how this all came to aid in your trusting your intuition. So have an awesome day, and we will catch up again tomorrow.